Yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your kind attention. This is not something in the 18 years that I've been here I would do under personal privilege, but it is a privilege for me to stand here today, and I hope it will be something you might remember for a bit of time, too. Most of you who know me really well know that I have always talked about being an adopted child. I have worked with my good friend, Representative Benninghoff, and Representative Petrie when he was here on adoption bills and things to do to help families become families through adoption. The story of my story is very simple. Adopted when I was 14 months old. My parents were told that my birth mother was unable to keep me because she had a chance to marry and the gentleman didn't want someone else's child. This is after World War II, so that's the way I grew up. I am very blessed. I grew up in a really terrific Irish family where my father, you could blame him for what you've had to deal with, many of you, who told me very much that I was, I could be anything I wanted to be. And above all, I was to remember I was a McDowell, and McDowells never are defeated. And being a woman was just incidental, but being a McDowell was everything. And I believed him, as some of you know. In any event, so I had a very good, and I think a life particularly blessed by the opportunity to be here. I really do consider it a blessing. I never expected something like this, and I have enjoyed most of my time here. Not all, but most. Right, Mr. Pyle? We know. In any event, but I am here to introduce some of my relatives to you. Now, that wouldn't normally mean the Speaker would be kind enough to close the doors of the House or whatever. But you see, these are relatives that I only learned that I had 6 months ago. And indeed, I was always told I would have been the firstborn, but I wasn't for my birth mother. She had been married and had a son, and he knew of me, but of course I never knew of him because I was put up for adoption when I was about 10 months old. But this little boy was a few years older, and he actually went with his mother to the Florence Crittenden home in Chestnut Hill, Philadelphia, and his mother said to him, "Kiss your baby sister goodbye. You will never see her again." And he cried, and he said that obviously in his mind, that shouldn't be. I was the baby sister that he had played with, the baby sister that he allowed me to hold his finger to go to sleep, so I went to sleep. And yes, I was the baby sister, I'm told repeatedly, used to pull his hair until it made him cry. Does that surprise you about me? I mean, really. In any event, but we knew none of this until a lady who I've become close to and is technically my grandniece, or my niece rather. I have to get all my family together, but my niece went looking because her father said that all his life and all 5 of his children knew they were to search for his baby sister who'd been given away. Ladies and gentlemen, we live 10 miles from each other, both in Bucks County. We moved to Bucks County from Delaware County, my husband and I, and our baby then, Derek, when the Ulmer family moved from Philadelphia to Bucks County. We recognize we have some friends. My niece, Karen, is an attorney in Bucks County and has gone to fundraisers and things and has friends who are my friends. But we just never found each other until both of us did that 23andMe, really for different reasons. I was just trying to prove to everybody that I'm really Irish because my son said, I talk so much with my hands, I must be Italian and not Irish. It's been a lie. And we found out that I was 93.7% British and Irish, more than Queen Elizabeth II, I would mention. Just a thought. But in any event, but what came of it all was a contact with a very nice lady in the text messages and the emails, and we were thought to be first cousins. But then we emailed back and forth and went, we can't be first cousins. Look how old I am, and look how young you are. That doesn't fit. And then we found out, indeed, though, I could be her aunt, according to the percentage of DNA we share. And indeed, it turns out I am the lost baby sister that her brother had looked for, or her father had looked for his whole life, and that the 5 children had looked for. And so I wanted to bring them to Harrisburg because, number one, this is my second home, and number two, I just wanted it that their names will be in the record book forever, and the relationship is publicly told forever. And trust me, even my husband didn't look for me as long as my brother has. I mean, really. So I think I know some of you can't imagine ever looking. I understand that. We have a different relationship. But I would like to introduce now my family. They have been my family since about Christmas time, just this past year. And I would like to introduce you to the brother I have. Oh, he's older, too. I became a middle child. I love it. But the brother who has looked for me and for all those years and always remembered me and had a picture of me that we shared and I went, oh, my gosh, that is me. And his name is Ed Ulmer, Jr., and my sister-in-law. I'm going to ask everybody to stand, but I want to applaud, but don't do it till they're all up, okay? We'll do that. So would please my brother, Ed Ulmer Jr., stand they have put down his wife, but my sister-in-law, I have a sister-in-law, and her name is Mary Ann Ulmer. I have nieces and nephews, the oldest of whom is Ed Ulmer III. I have Michelle Matarazzo, my niece. I have Karen Ulmer Pendergast. That's the lawyer. And she's a family lawyer. And I have children and youth. Could it get any better than this? And who found me. And her son, one of her children today is Christopher Pendergast is here. And also her daughter, my grandniece, Victoria Guarassi. So we got a little sort of Italian in there. That would work. And there are those who would say that Karen and I look a bit alike, as in her sisters and her parents. And we have people I have others. Bill, my nephew, who is not here, he works in Boston and couldn't come down. That would make sense. And another teacher in the family would be my niece, Melissa, and she teaches over in New Jersey and couldn't take the day off. And guess what? I picked up tons of children. You know how I like that. Well, everybody's got children, so I have a whole bunch of grandnieces and nephews, which makes me very happy. But I wanted to share that with you. I want to publicly thank Representative Benninghoff for always being, I guess, my partner in crime, but we worked for adopted children. Representative Petrie, who is now gone from our midst, but we also worked, and certainly members of the Children and Youth Committee that have always supported my interest in adoption, and who knew where that interest would take me. Thank you very much to all of you and my family.